SNESdrunk.
Hello, and thank you for taking the time to watch part 3 of Super Nintendo Random Facts, where I put together a collection of whatever stuff I've come across over the years that doesn't really fit in any other video. And this ranges all over the place, from cheat codes to glitches to trivia or whatever, and it could come from any Super Nintendo game, whether it's defeating bosses in a certain order to change the environments in Mega Man X, or how the computer cheats when it's losing in Madden 95 and starts calling teams instead of timeouts, or how in Mortal Kombat, what just happened? What, did he just give him a disease? That's disgusting. I've also mentioned debug menus in past episodes, like the one in SimCity that allows you to bulldoze over water, and there's a few other games with accessible debug menus out there that are fun to mess with, like the Twisted Tales of Spike McFang, for example. That's got a debug menu that you can access by going to the title screen and entering right, Y, B, left, B, Y, up, Y, B, down, B, Y, select, left, right. Did you get all that? You'll know it worked if you hear a sound like this. Start the game normally and hold L and R and press start to open the debug menu. From here you can max out your level, get the best possible hat in the game, get 10 copies of every magic card, and you can even hold the X button to walk through walls. It's always fun to crank through a difficult game when you're super overpowered. And since we're talking Spike McFang, it's got another interesting code that allows you to make your companion playable with the second controller. Again, from the title, you press down B, left B, up Y, right Y, and again you'll hear a sound. You load a save where your companion Rudy is already with you, and suddenly this is a two-player game. Kinda cool, even if Rudy kinda sucks, unfortunately, but still, it's nice that it's there. Another game with a debug menu is Shadowrun, and what's interesting about this one is that nobody knew it existed for over 20 years until it was brought up in a developer interview with Retro Gamer magazine in 2013. The way to access it is underneath this flickering light right outside the morgue where you start the game. You stand here and bring up your item menu and select the matchbox to examine it. If you hear a beep like this, you're standing in the right spot. Examine the matchbox 3 more times, making sure you hear that beep each time, then leave the item screen, go back into the morgue and stand in the doorway. Examine the matchbox 1 more time, another beep, and the matchbox will switch from examine to open. That teleports you to the debug room where you can get invincibility, money, and karma from talking to all these waitresses hanging out here. You might be wondering why this exists, but it's really just an easy way for developers to test things out without having to grind for stats or play through the entire game. The only obnoxious thing about this trick is that you have to stand in the exact pixel-perfect spot under this light while you examine your matchbox. But, you know, at least you don't have to examine your matchbox 20 times. Don't let the game push you. Hey-ha! 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 Hey! Alright, speaking of hidden cheats that were recently unearthed, here's a useful one for Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Kong Quest that was recently discovered a few months ago, and it allows you to pause the game and exit any level at any point and return to the game's map screen, even in levels you have not completed. It's pretty simple too, you just hit pause and then press right and Y at the same time, then left and A, up and B, and down and X. Easy as that. This totally seems like something that should have been published in Nintendo Power under the classified info section, but I guess Rare didn't get around to telling anyone for nearly 30 years. Now, there's some stuff that was obviously left in games to make life a little easier for developers, but there's other stuff that just plain breaks the game. Like here in Super Earth Defense Force, when you die, reset the game during the death animation, and when you restart, you'll start the game invincible with 5 extra shield points. The only problem is the sound gets kinda broken for some reason, and the game will eventually crap out on you. Still, it's fun to color outside the lines with games like this sometimes. Secret of Mana has a few fun glitches too, like this one where you can get a ton of gold right at the start of the game. Go to the first Neko shop over here, buy 1 candy and 1 medical herb in that order. Next, go to your inventory, place your cursor on your medical herb, close out of the menu, go back to Neko and sell her back what you just bought in the same order that it appears in your inventory. Here's where it gets stupid. Next, you gotta back out, go to buy, then back out again with the Y button, then go to sell. Suddenly, you have a whole bunch of random stuff in your inventory listed as Blatt. What, like David Blatt? Just keep selling everything one by one until the item description no longer says Blatt. Okay, great, now I got all this money, but now I also have a bunch of useless trash clogging my inventory. Well, to fix that, just back in and out of your menu and they'll disappear. If you try using one of these trash items, it'll crash the game entirely. You can get over 3 million gold doing this, so you don't have to waste any time grinding for fairy walnuts, which makes for a better playthrough in my opinion. Koei usually manages to get an Easter egg or two into their games, one being for Uncharted Waters New Horizons, where if you name yourself Blackbeard, pirates will not ever attack you, with the trade-off being that you get an extremely low luck rating. It at least makes you approach certain paths in the game in an entirely different way. Another Koei game, Brandish, has a hidden room you can find right away. Just jump to the other side of this item and keep holding the jump button, and you'll drop down into a dungeon that features the sound room where you can listen to the soundtrack and pick up some warp magic while you're jamming out. Sometimes there's certain game modes that have been buried in games for decades with hardly anyone knowing about them. A good example of this is in both NBA Live 97 and 98 from EA Sports, and you can essentially turn the game into NBA Jam. You can screw with the rules, turn off out of bounds, and turn off fouls so you can use Sam Perkins to absolutely wreck Steve Kerr. Or you can sprint down the baseline and dunk from 10 feet away with Sean Kemp. Both the 97 and 98 editions feature 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 3-point contests, and lots of other additional options like playing to a point total. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to play as Jordan alongside Luke Longley 2-on-2? There's an Easter egg and secret to Evermore that not too many people know about, and it's in that big annoying marketplace where you're supposed to keep track of like 3 dozen things to trade around in an attempt to upgrade your gear. My petty gripes aside, this secret is pretty funny. Just pick out a chicken, any chicken, stand in front of it, and press the B button 200 times. Yes, seriously, just sit there and count. After the 200th time, the game will pause, you'll get your ass bombed, your HP will go all the way down to 1, and you'll get a warning, "Do not taunt the chickens!" Well, that's ominous, so let's try it again. "You were warned!" And another bomb. Man, what is it about chickens in Super Nintendo games? Are these the same chickens from Link to the Past? Here's another top-down RPG with an Easter egg, Terranigma. Never released in North America, but it's well worth seeking out and playing if you ever get a chance, and if you do, here's an easy way to get a bunch of money in the middle of the game. When you go to the town of Loran, go to Temujin's house. He'll ask you what he should do with all his money, and you tell him to take it to his grave. Later on, after certain events have happened, you make your way up to the cemetery, go to the grave that's furthest to the upper left, and check it out. Temujin really did take his money to his grave, and now it's yours, so go pay it forward. Here's an interesting hidden trick you can do in Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. You can actually change the characters' names at any time. Just open up the menu, put the cursor next to the scenario option, then hold L and select while pressing A. Sticking with RPGs, here's a funny one from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, a game some people derisively refer to as baby's first RPG, but really it's just a fun, easy playthrough that you can finish in an afternoon while rocking out to some kick-ass tunes. But hey, if for whatever reason you have any trouble with the final boss of the game, just know that the strongest spell against him is Cure? Yes, keep curing the guy with the main character. It'll do 12,000 damage before he changes forms, and when he does, it'll do 26,000 damage. I seriously doubt anyone watching this would have any trouble with this game, but if by chance you do, then just cure this guy to death. Finally, here's a fun thing you can do in Mario Paint. You can crash the game, and it's not all that complicated. You just make a crazy Fruity Pebbles looking stamp that uses all the colors, start an animation, color in the frames with your custom stamp, and make it look like one of those annoying 3D posters where you're supposed to see a boat or something. Go back and save your beautiful work, and you can't. I can't even bring my mouse back up here. If I had this game as a kid, I would probably do this nonstop just to make myself laugh. Sounds exciting, right? Well, that goes with the territory when you click on a video titled Super Nintendo Random Facts. And that is all for now. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.